I'm Juan T. Salter and host of the Here We Are podcast. This podcast is dedicated to exploring topics, history, politics, queerdom, perspective of Black folk and people of color, our American demographic future, geography, local issues, and culture. A lot of things that are Gen X and whatever else we can discover kind of nerdy along the way. This series of episodes delves deeper into a relevant social and political topic of late, especially in our political lives, queerdom, and specifically the idea that LGBTQ plus people recruit, or as the right wing calls it, groom unsuspecting youth into choosing to be queer. Here at the Here We Are podcast, we're going to turn that fallacy on its head, interviewing actual queer folk themselves. Today we invited Randle, a white male, gay boomer, retired interior designer, and professor. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Juan.
First question we always ask at Here We Are, how did you get here? What is your backstory to being here, or the backstory of your family to being here?
Well, I was born not very far from here. You could very easily walk there. My father was a doctor. My grandfather was a doctor. My great-grandfather was a doctor. Oh. And my brothers are both doctors, too.
So you broke the mold.
I broke the mold. Yeah. And in a way, I think that was because I was gay, too.
Oh.
Yeah. So, born in 1952, I experienced the extremes of gayism, but was never hurt or, was never badly treated. The worst thing that ever happened to me as a gay person was a person came and said, "Oh, your brother is really great. What happened to you?" in high school. And that's about it. And I knew what he was saying. But that's my background, basically.
Cool. So the question, who taught you to be queer?
Definitely no one taught me. The earliest remembrance I can remember as being attracted to men was Hippol's day camp. And there were communal showers. And the counselors would be in there taking showers. I was probably about 8 years old, 10 or 8 years old. And I remember staring and thinking, oh, how great. And whenever they wanted to play baseball or something like that, I always hid. And I would have this tendency to be able to vomit at will. So they were always sending me home. But those are some of the earliest parts of my gay life. The other part, well, they just evolved. And I went to Brigham Young University, which is highly, as you can imagine, against anything gay. But there was so much hidden gay activity there. It was so interesting. Not through sexual, but through wrestling, tumbling, and all this other stuff. And finally, this guy who liked to wrestle with me a lot finally propositioned. And at that point, I said, you need to pray about this. This is, boy, do I regret that to this very day.
And also the idea you're at basically
repressed.
Religious college.
Yeah, at religious college. Yeah, and that, they were telling us that you would be kicked out and that all your credits would go away. Of course, they can't possibly do that. They probably make it very difficult for you to get your transcripts and get it out of there. No, I finished it out, and I went on to graduate school in New York, and thank God this saved my life, kind of.
Interesting that you bring that up, because next question would be, who or what role models did you have for being queer gay?
None. Because I felt like I was the only person alive that was gay.
Even when you went to New York?
Oh, no. I would have matured since then. But as a child, I thought there weren't any more gay guys. Well, of course, high school, there were really Nelly gay guys. I thought they were Nelly, but I was probably just as Nelly as they were, or worse.
So how were those peers, how were they treated?
Badly. badly. In fact, I have one friend from high school that was gay, and I'm still friends with him.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Good.
but he still lives in New York.
What term do you find most acceptable? Queer, gay, same gender loving? Over time that term has changed.
Gay is fine with me. Queer brings up too much bad memories.
It's I think queer is resurfacing and like the kind of turning it on its head, but maybe not for everybody.
Yeah.
How did you come out, or did you come out?
Yes, I came out. I came out first to my sister. And sadly enough, that was after I lived in Houston at that point. She had moved to Houston too. Well, not planned, but she had moved to Houston. By planned, I mean she didn't move there for my presence. She had moved there because her husband had another job there. But I came out to her first, and she said, well, Mother and Daddy always knew you were gay.
Really?
And when you moved to New York, they were very worried about you. They thought you would never come back.
Interesting. Very interesting. Do you have any regrets about your process?
No, none at all. None at all. I've had I had a partner for 20 some odd years. And then now I'm married. This is our anniversary is in 2 days. As a matter of fact.
Congratulations.
Yeah, 6 years. And I'm glad to be married. I'm very grateful to be married. And it's amazing that I always thought that Tennessee would never be able to register gay marriage. But thank goodness for the Supreme Court.
One of the other questions before, you said you came out to your sister first. Timeline, when was this?
Oh, God. This is embarrassing. This is in the 80s.
Okay. In the 80s.
Early 80s. Early 80s.
That's about the time that I came out.
Yep.
And,
But you were probably, what?
16?
16. Well, I was still in my 20s.
See? Wasn't too far off.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice or wisdom you care to share with a younger person in the community, maybe listening to this podcast?
Things have changed so much since I was coming out and early on. Today, things are so different. I'm just like a dinosaur.
Or predecessor.
Yeah, I've got a gay nephew who, unbelievably so, Presbyterian and Mormon. Those are my backgrounds. And my brother, after my nephew, thank goodness he's done very, very well for himself. My brother tried to, at one point early on, send him to one of those camps. Conversion camp things. And he told me he just took it and tore it up and threw it in the trash. It's a pamphlet. And it basically has gone on and done what he's wanted to do. But it tells me what's in my brother's mind. It's kind of scary, but he's a good brother.
Yeah.
And he loves his son, his only son.
Kind of in that case, the son had to teach the father.
That's right. Exactly.
Good. Well, Randle, thank you so much for being on Here We Are.
I know. Well, thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.